All right, CRPN Central. I am here in Hannibal, Missouri, and I am here with Mr. So what's going on?
Well, my wife has a relatively rare disease. It's PSP, progressive supranuclear palsy, and we've been dealing with that for a number of years now. We started out, we thought it was familial tremors, and then with looking with different doctors, they said it was Parkinson's, even doctors out of the area. And then as it progressed, we found out that it was, by going out of town to university hospitals, we found out that it was progressive supranuclear palsy. Relatively rare disease. It's kind of a throwback to Parkinson's. It's in the superfamily with Parkinson's and Lewy body disease and let's see here, frontal lobe dementia, and some of those, maybe even Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. It's a neurological brain disease where the brain dies.
And so, Chuck, what's the prognosis of this diagnosis?
Well, it's fatal over a period of time. Depending on the person, they can live. PSP people normally, what I've read, can live 5 to 7 years. My wife's lived between 8 and 9 years. But it's progressive, and you can see that on a monthly basis. You can see her decline. And
so here in Hannibal, Chuck, do you have access to any kind of a clinical trial that could help with this?
Not here in this area, not that I'm aware of anyway. We did go to Washington U and Washington University in St. Louis, and we're doing a study with her, and so that's about the closest that we've had that we're aware of.
And how far away is St. Louis from here?
It's about 120 miles for us.
120, so 90 minutes, 2 hours, depending on traffic.
Sure.
And so, given this prognosis and given where you are, I mean, you've got St. Louis, you've got Chicago, you've got Minneapolis, you've got these big cities, but you're literally between 2 to 5, sometimes 9 hours away from the closest help. And I remember, Chuck, we had this conversation a couple months ago, and we started this exploration. And it gets really discouraging when clinical trials are there in this country, but you can't access them because of where you live.
Yes, we found some clinical trials in Mayo's, which is 450 miles from here. And by the time we found them, they were already closed. They already had all the people they needed. They had a study, but there was no use to do a study there, driving that far, when we could go to St. Louis and do the same thing.
Yeah. And so how is your wife now?
She's declining as time goes on. The medicines kind of hold her a little bit, but it's not as good as it was 6 months ago.
So Chuck, coming from someone who has lost someone to what I call a research desert, I mean, a research desert is where you know that your loved one, there's something wrong with them, and you know that there's help out there somewhere, but that help is not near you. I can't tell you how much it means to me and how much I feel for you for what you're going through. And it's my mission for what I do here online and across the country to make sure that our loved ones have access to the clinical trials that could save our lives, that could give them more birthdays, that could help us to live longer and healthier lives. If, and a big if, we were ever to be successful and we got to a point where clinical trials could be in these research deserts, do you think that this community would be open to trying to participate?
I would hope they would be. We have some pretty intelligent doctors here, and not all the sick people are in St. Louis or Chicago or Kansas City or Springfield. There's sick people here too, or people that have diseases that are maybe not curable, but at least if we research, we're going to find possibly maybe not a cure, but at least something to make their lives better or live longer.
And what if I told you, ironically, that one of the biggest complaints from pharmaceutical companies is that they just can't find the patients to fill their studies.
Well, I don't know about that. That's interesting, but we looked for like 2 years to try to find somebody that would take us, and now she's gotten to the point where what I've read, some of them don't want her because she's too far along in her disease.
Yep. At the advanced stages, they're trying to be more preventative, and so they're less curative.
Yeah.
Well, Chuck, importantly, I really hope that everyone watching this can keep Chuck in your prayers, keep researching your prayers, keep all of those loved ones in your prayers who are literally losing their lives in these research deserts, who really need our help. So if you're in a research desert and you know of one, please reach out, find help. We've got community members out there right now in clinical research who are here trying to make research accessible to everyone. And Chuck, my prayers to you and your wife, and I really appreciate you coming on the CRPN Central and talking about your story.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is Dr. Fox. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all later.